Okay. Can everyone see me? Am I here now? Am I here? Yay! Thank you, Habib. You are online. I am online. Sometimes technology, it's like a puzzle, and you gotta put all the puzzle pieces together, and sometimes it just feels like I have missing puzzle pieces. And technology, although it's so wonderful and it's so awesome, sometimes it can be a little frustrating. So thank you so very much for being so very kind and staying with me. Because we are starting class a few minutes late, I will, of course, end class a few minutes late so that we get the full hour together. There we go, just making sure, checking in the comment box. All right, everyone is here. And I just have to say a special thank you to Rosa. As I look at the comments, she is definitely a teacher. Rosa, whether you are a teacher, in fact, as a profession, or you just are a teacher naturally, we would say as a person you are good at teaching. I see that a lot of students look to you for answers if I'm busy or explaining something else and not available. And I really appreciate that, Miss Rosa. So thank you so much. In addition, thank you everyone for joining me and Smart English this morning. And I always feel kind of weird saying, good morning, because I realize that we have so many wonderful viewers all over the world that although it's morning here in Spokane, Washington, it could be afternoon, evening, maybe even the middle of the night. So even though I say good morning, really just good day, hello to you, lovely viewers, and wherever you are in the world. So one moment, I'm going to check over in the chat box. All right. Yes, Rosa, we love you. Okay. Wonderful. Well, I have some kind of exciting news, or news that is exciting for me. So again, if you've been here for the first few lessons, I said that I moved over from Olympia, Washington, the capital of Washington State, near Seattle. I moved to Spokane to study here at the university, and I loved it so much that I've stayed for the past 18 years. But with that, obviously, I don't get to see my family as much as I would like to because they're about 5-hour drive away. So my exciting news, my mother is going to come visit me next week. So even though I'm 36, I don't know how the rest of you feel, but I don't care how old I am. It's always nice when your mother is around, and mother's cooking just always tastes better. Is that just me, or does all your mother's cooking always taste better than the cooking that you have to do for yourself? Is that true? Yeah. So I'm very excited to see my mother next week. And then also I heard on the news this morning that we are expecting about 1/2 foot of snow in the next couple days. If you would ever like to study abroad or have thought of studying abroad, Spokane is definitely a wonderful place to do so. And even though we get a lot of snow, our bus system is wonderful, and our amazing SCEL, Spokane College of English Language, is located right downtown Spokane and right across from the bus plaza. So it makes it very easy to get here. But also excited that we will have fresh snow for Christmas, which is this weekend. And as you probably know, the biggest holiday that we celebrate in America. So again, one moment, I'm gonna check over in the chat box. Yes, I love seeing the agreements. Yes, mother's cooking is good. Mothers are the best thing in the world. It's true. Vivek, thank you. Even I am 38. Don't worry, Abby. We are in the same phase. Or we'd say the same place, too. I don't care how old you are. It's always nice to be with your mother. And then hopefully my father will get to come visit. Again, my parents have a small farm. I grew up with a lot of animals. So a farm just means that they have acreage or land, and we have a big barn. And growing up, we always had horses and cows, sheep, goats, ducks, pigs. We had everything. And my parents have lived there for 40 years. So with that, I miss being around animals because that's what I was used to and that's what I loved growing up. So my father, dear man that my father is, he will have to stay at home and take care of the animals, but my mother will get a little break and get to come over and see me. So yes, I don't care how old you are, your parents are always the most important people in your life, or at least some of the most important people, and that's definitely true for me, so I'm very excited. I hope you all are excited to continue on with Smart English. I know that we've been doing a lot of vocabulary. Every teacher that you talk to that is an ESL teacher, you can ask them, what's your favorite part of English to teach? Miss Nicole, as you know, if you have been in class for the whole season, is absolutely the master at grammar. Again, whenever any of us have questions, we go and ask Miss Nicole because she is famous for her knowledge in grammar. My favorite part of ESL learning is vocabulary. I love words. I love why we have the words we do in English, because a lot of English words we've borrowed from other languages, or we've taken some from here, put them together. A lot of our language and our words are Latin or Greek based in origin. And so with that, I really enjoy vocabulary. What's more, I think that vocabulary is so important because if you think of speaking or writing or just in general learning a new language, it's like building a house. Okay? What I mean by that is the more vocabulary you have, the more you can say, and the bigger you can build that house. So that as you have more vocabulary acquisition, if we're thinking of it like a house, the more words you know, that enables you to say more, to express more, and to build a bigger house. So that's how I think about vocabulary and why I enjoy vocabulary so much. But we're going to take a quick break from that. And real quickly, we're going to start our lesson. Again, we are in Unit 5, but we will be going to a Unit 5 Grammar 5-1, which is countable and uncountable nouns. And then we'll look at that for a little bit, think of any questions you might have, and then towards the end of our hour together, we'll go back and do a little bit more vocabulary. With that, I certainly want to know your opinions, your thoughts. If you think vocabulary is really, really important and you would like to focus on that, or more grammar, because again, I'm here to teach English language, but I'm here to teach you. You, the students, are the most important part. Hi, you're the reason that I'm here. So I always want to make sure that everything I do as a teacher, whether in the live stream or in the classroom, is always geared towards our students, because really you guys are amazing. So again, give me one moment while I check over at the chat bar, take some coffee. Oh, Vivek, don't say such unkind things. Nora, we love you. All right. Rosa says Neil will miss him. Oh, who are we going to miss? All right. Vivek, it says you have a question. What is your question, Vivek? All right, I will wait for a minute, Mr. Vivek, if you want to type in that question, or if there is any other questions, and give you a moment. If you are following along and would like to pull it up yourself on your laptop or your computer, we are once more in Unit 5, and we will be looking at Grammar 5-1, which is countable and uncountable nouns. All right. All right, here we go. Countable and uncountable nouns. And we know, of course, that a noun is person, place, or thing. Okay? I always find it helpful with my students. Repetition, so repeating something. Repetition is one of the best ways to learn, and with that, to really understand, and not just understand, but keep that knowledge. So as we go through, I will continue just to remind, continue with that repetition with our parts of speech and nouns, person, place, or thing. Okay, so as we're looking at our first example, I have not had breakfast yet, and even though that is a sandwich that we would usually eat for lunch, it looks really good. As you can see in the background there is a bowl. Bringing in some of our vocabulary. There is a bowl, and it looks like that person is going to enjoy a bowl of salad. So our example, there is a sandwich with some milk for you, as illustrated in our lovely picture. Right? So as we go down, in English, it's important to understand the difference between nouns you can count and nouns you can't count, you cannot count, right? So we would call those countable, uncountable nouns, right? So what are countable nouns? I'm glad you asked. Countable nouns are things you can count. You can look at it and give it a number as you count it. And with these nouns, it's possible to say or a, an, 1, 2, 3, etc. 500, 600, forever. As you noticed, or an, in a few moments, and as we continue the lesson, we'll explain when you would use or a, and when you would use an, A-N, right? So a few examples of our countable nouns: person, people, okay? We can count that. Computer, a car, a fish, which a fish is a kind of animal. Yeah, there's my there's my impression of a fish. You're welcome. So just wanted to make sure, in case anyone wasn't clear what a fish was. They're in water. You know, I was realizing that the dangerous thing with doing streams is that if I do silly things like making fish face, it's on the internet for literally the world to see. But that's okay. I'm having fun. Hopefully you are as well. And next time you see a fish or think of a fish, you'll remember, oh, that is a countable noun. As is apple. And once more, Washington State is world famous. We produce more apples in Washington State than any place else in the world. Eggs. Man, girl, boy, woman, etc. All right. Scrolling down a little bit, looking at our examples. Okay. There's a laptop. There's a laptop on the table. Okay. Second picture, she has 2 dogs. And as we're looking at this picture, what they are laying on, okay, we can see that's fuzzy. We could either call that a rug, or we could use our vocabulary, and that could also be a blanket, okay? A rug is specifically for the floor. This, although it is on the floor, could possibly be a blanket as well. So again, one of our vocabulary words, blanket, it's a thing, it's a noun, and that you wrap around you, that you have on your bed. So in this picture, this little girl, she looks very cozy in between her 2 dogs. So we can count how many dogs there are. There's 2. And then our last example in picture, 3 girls are playing, hanging upside down on the monkey bars. All right, one moment, I'm gonna look over at the chat. Okay. All right, so some of the questions that I see here are really great. And I'm gonna take a minute. At this moment, I'm not gonna answer these questions, but here's why. I'm hoping that as we continue through this lesson, it'll answer the questions for you. If not, then please, of course, go back and repost your question. But I'm hoping that some of the questions that are asked again as we continue through this will be answered as we progress, as we proceed through our lesson. All right? Nice example, Vivek. All right. So countable nouns, nouns that can be counted, countable nouns have a single, one, have singular, and plural, more than one, forms. So once more, countable nouns have singular and plural forms. Okay? Singular nouns are often follow a or an. Once more, when do you use a or a? So just a single a. And when do you use an? As we continue through the lesson, it'll explain it. And of course, if you still have more questions, pop them over in the chat box. But as we continue on, we'll see if we can answer those together. So, scrolling down, an, it's one thing. It's one thing or person. All right? So we use a before, as I'm looking at all of these letters, the one thing you can notice is they are all consonants, okay? So they're not vowels. We know that the English alphabet is comprised, so is made up of either consonants or vowels. As we're looking at this list, it's saying or a is used before all of these letters. And what's more, all of these letters are consonants, with the exception of Y. Y can sometimes be used as a vowel as well. I always preface, again, preface, give a disclaimer to my classes and a bit of an apology that there are some ways that the English language, and you probably already know this, is a little bit confusing. I would even venture to say sometimes English is crazy. So with that, Y, here's an example, crazy English, Y can be used as both a consonant and a vowel. But for our purposes, as we're looking here in this list, or a will always be used before a consonant. Okay? Check over in the comments real quick. Oh, good. Oh, Vivek, you were so good. Vivek says, an hour, university. Hang on, because as we continue on through the lesson, I will explain that. And really, that just goes back to English being a little bit crazy. But excellent, excellent observation and post there, Vivek. Right, continuing on. So, using or a. A, bear. A, table. A, phone. A song. I hope you guys like the song that plays while we're waiting for the class to start. It's very upbeat and catchy. I hope you enjoy that song. It's a fun song. A man. All right. Now, again, as we're scrolling down, and now we're looking at our vowels, which of course is A, E, I, O, U, and sometimes Y, although it's not normally listed in our list of vowels, Y can be used. Okay? So with that, we use an, A-N, before a vowel. Here's our examples. An umbrella. An English teacher. An apple. An egg. An inch. Right? So once more, whenever a word starts with a vowel, A, E, I, O, U, sometimes Y, it'll be an, A-N. Now, we're going to address what Vivek had posted, which once more, wonderfully done. You're getting ahead because you're so smart. Really, I am always incredibly impressed with how smart and how intelligent our students are. I would argue that Smart English has the best students anywhere. So, Vivek, to your question, your observation, here's one more way that English is kind of crazy. We would use an before our, because even though H is a consonant and the word our, it's not pronounced hour. The H is almost silent, like hour. Hour, as in time, sounds exactly the same as our, as in our class together. So because of that sound alone, and the fact that with the silent H, it's not hour, it's our, and it sounds like our, O-U-R, with that and that sound, we would in fact use an before that. So if you ever have a question, and I've been speaking English my whole life, and there are still times where as I'm writing, I'll have to stop and think, and oh yeah, hour, it has that O sound, so I put an before it. So, see you in an hour. Now, the second example here is university. Well, my goodness. Miss Abby, you just said that goes before a consonant and an goes before a vowel, but now you're changing it around. I'm sorry. It's just the way English is. And again, I hope I don't get in trouble for this, but we all have to admit it, right? English sometimes is a little bit crazy. So with the same example as hour, where we would actually say an hour, it's the same with university. We would use a or a. Use a before university because it is pronounced like university. Okay? If we were spelling it out the way it sounds, we would probably write it with a Y, as you can see here. It's pronounced like university. And so since that is what the sound is, and it sounds like it starts with a consonant, we would use a. A lot of this, as I'm sure you know, and I'm sure you've experienced, a lot of this and really just language acquisition, so acquiring language or knowledge of language, a lot of it is just memorization. And the best way to memorize is, and I could probably say, type it in. The best way to memorize is practice, practice, practice. Okay? We have the saying, practice makes perfect. Well, I'm here to tell you and to let you know that it'll never be perfect. Nothing's ever perfect when it's something that you can continue to learn. So although practice won't make perfect in English, because again, I've been speaking English my whole life. I'm certainly not perfect. And you'd have a lot of people say, nope, she is not. She's not perfect. My mother, if she was being honest, would be, I love my daughter Abby, but she's not perfect. Really, especially with language, you're never going to get to the point of perfection where you make no mistakes because it's a continual process. So practice won't make perfect. Practice is going to get you and help you continue towards that perfection. So going back to the original thought, a lot of learning languages, really a lot of learning any subject, is memorization. And memorization comes from repeating and from a lot of practice. So with that, crazy English, but the rule that you can remember, because you will from time to time have to stop and actually say, all right, hour, even though it starts with an H, which is a consonant, sounds like hour. It sounds like it starts with the OU. So in that case, you would put an AN. In the same way, even though university starts with U, which is a vowel, because it sounds like a Y, we would in fact use a or a. Okay? A little bit confusing, a little bit tricky. Thankfully, in Smart English, it's all clearly lined out here. Of course, if you have any additional questions, let me know. And with that, I'm going to take one moment and look over at the comments. Right. Rosa, fantastic point. Rosa says, I stopped learning English and I started practicing it. Because practicing is learning. So you're doing both. Fantastic point, Rosa. Good. All right. Excellent. Continuing on. Plural nouns. The plural form of a countable noun, okay? So when it is a countable noun, something we can count, but there's more than one, so plural. The plural form of countable nouns usually ends in S, as our examples. Oh, and as I said before, I grew up on a farm and always had lots of animals. So cows. A cow is eating grass. Now if we have two, it'd be two cows are eating grass. And of course, when we go to plural, it goes from cow is to cows are. Our third picture, I'm playing a video game with my friend. So singular, one friend. In contrast, I'm playing a video game with my friends. We add the S, and then we know it's plural. It's more than one friend. It could be 2 friends, it could be 4, it could be 50 friends. Continuing down, the spelling of plural countable nouns. So we add an S. Add an S if there are 2 or more of a noun. Here's our examples. Bananas. Eggs. So if you're making a quiche is almost kind of like a pie, if you will, but it's made up of eggs. You don't just use one egg, you use many eggs, depending on how big your quiche is and how many you are making. So eggs, how many eggs? Ducks. We did have a few ducks on the farm growing up. Bears. Thankfully, no bears. And computers. So again, you add an S if there are 2 or more of a noun. Right? Now, you add ES if the noun is plural, okay? If the noun is plural and it already ends with an S, or an SH, or a CH, or an X. Our examples. Peach, singular, peach, fruit, ends in CH. So as we make that plural, because it is a countable noun, but it's a countable noun that ends in CH, if it was plural, more than 1, 2, 3, 500, it's peaches. Right? Same as class, classes, since class ends in 2 S's. Class to classes. Buses, bus ends in S. Plural, buses. Addresses, where you live or where something is located. Address, addresses. Foxes. Okay, foxes are like little dogs. But they're wild. We didn't have any of those on the farm growing up. Dresses. Oh, and taxes. Taxes. Okay, again, give me 1 second. I'm gonna pop over to the comments. Oh, so I have a request some examples. If you guys could write some examples, wonderful. I think that's a fantastic idea. So let's take a moment, and if you would like, let's continue on with the exact one that we are on currently, which is adding ES. If a word ends in S, SH, CH, or X. If a word ends in any of those, but you want to make it plural, so classes. Hopefully you are enjoying the Smrt classes, not just one, but many of them, whether you've been to 2, attended 3. This is our 33rd, which is very exciting. Hopefully you've been enjoying the classes. And it's in a double S. So to make it plural, we would add the ES. So if you want to take a second and see if there's any of words that you can come up with that would follow this rule for plural nouns, plural countable nouns. I have 4 watches. Yes, very good. I have a lot of cars. Thank you, Mohammed, for remembering that a lot is 2 words. Native English speakers forget that a lot is 2 words a lot of the time, and will put it ALOT. They'll make it 1 word. You guys are awesome. Just one more way that you guys are so smart and really fantastic. Thank you for making a lot 2 words. French Leo. My goodness, good man. You are jumping ahead. You are jumping ahead, and I love it. You wrote baby to babies. BABIES. That's coming up next. Well done. You're jumping ahead, and we will get there in one moment. So continue just to look at some more of these examples. So chocolates, instead of can I have some chocolates, it would be may I have some chocolates. Can you? If I have chocolates, like, yeah, you can, or you can't. May I is actually asking, may I have some chocolates? Okay? And that actually sounds really good right now. Chocolate's good. Crash, crashes. Excellent. I want a large cup of coffee too. I bought 4 dresses for Abby. Thank you. The one thing you may not know, well, of course you wouldn't know. How could you know? I am very, very, very tall. So it's difficult. It's difficult to find dresses. So if you're buying dresses, Vivek, you're gonna have to shop and make sure that they are long dresses because I am very tall. Speeches, excellent example, wonderful example, guys. Yes, peaches does indeed have 2 syllables. So syllables would be our word, real close, peaches. Great, country to countries. All right, so changing the ending to IES when we have plurals. We're gonna be going over that next. So since I'm seeing some of that already in our examples that you're writing up, I'll take the Q. So Q is not clue, which is one of our vocabulary words, but cue, as in kind of hint or prompt. So I'll take your cue, since you're already writing some great words using IES as the ending, I'll take your cue. We'll continue on now to that. So speaking of IES as an ending for plurals, if a noun is plural and it ends with Y, that's when you change the Y to IES. So exactly as we had as one of our examples, country. Country ends in a Y. If we're speaking of countries, many countries, or more than one country, plural, it would go from country to countries. And it would substitute that Y out for IES. Back before, there was another good example, puppy. So a puppy, a little dog, baby dog, okay? So a puppy, singular, one, or if you have more than one, it would be puppies. My apologies, I forget who wrote that example, but it was a really great one. So puppies, we would change the Y to IES to mean more than one puppy. And again, a puppy is a baby dog. So similar if you know the word kitten. Kitten is a baby cat. Cat, kitten, puppy, dog. Right? These are good. Wonderful. Wonderful. Excellent. So, for some of our example, family, families, city to cities, talking about more than one city. And we can count it. We can count how many cities there are. It's a countable noun. And when a countable noun ends in Y, and we're changing it to a plural, put it to IES. All right, continuing on with our examples. Strawberry to strawberries. Lady to ladies. And lastly, country to countries. All right. It makes me very happy and really excited always to see all the countries that are represented here with all of the students online. All right. Now, when we have an ending of V, V-E-S. So if a noun is plural and ends with F or F-E, it changes the F or the F-E to V-E-S. Looking at our example, life, okay, singular, my life, switches to lives. Okay, life ends in F-E, so making it plural, more than one, changes it to L-I-V-E-S, lives. In the same way, wolves. So wolf, singular, wolf. Make sure we get that strong F, wolf. Changes to wolves. Didn't have any wolves on our farm. Leaf, so leaf, what's on trees? To leaves. Trees have leaves. They don't just have a singular leaf. You can pick a singular leaf off a tree, but trees have many. They have leaves. Half, okay, so just half of something, halves. So now I have two halves, right? Wife to wives, all right? Calf to calves. We did have calves on the farm. Mm-hmm. Good, good. Oh, perfect. Vocabulary to vocabularies. Excellent example. Excellent example. And with that, I am going to go ahead for the last 15 minutes of class. Again, my apologies, since we started 5 minutes late. I will go 5 minutes later than usual because I want to make sure that we have our full hour, our full time together. And again, apologies for the little technological mix-up, and thank you for being so very gracious and kind with me. If you were in last class, you probably remember that I have no problem saying that I'm old, and sometimes technology, things that I'm still learning. I'm not cool. And as one of our fabulous viewers pointed out, not cool as in temperature-wise, as in cold, or the opposite of warm, cool as in hip, or knows what's popular. I'm not cool. I have no problem with that. But with that, sometimes technology. So the fact that class started a few minutes later, I'm absolutely more than happy to end class a few minutes later so we have our whole hour time together. So with that, I think it's a great idea. I hope you do as well. We're going to hop back over to our vocabulary single. During the whole class time, we will be going over many different vocabularies as given as a wonderful example. All right. Great. Okay, going back. Vocabulary list. Okay. Now, with this, I'm just going to say the words, not the definitions or explanation or description of the words that we've already gone through. But as I go through each slide, I will repeat the words. So hopefully, again, that'll be continued review, continued practice, continued memorization. So appointment. Awesome. Bandage. Blanket. Boot, or usually boots. Probably want two. Bowl. Brand. Bucket. Cashier. Cause. Again, this is different than cause if we shorten down because. Okay. Cause is slang. So in informal speech, why don't you want to go to dinner tonight? 'Cause I'm tired. Slang, short, informal, because I'm tired. So if we're shortening because, it's 'cause, which is different, although spelled the same, than cause. So cause. Clerk. Clothes. Clothing. Clue. Comfortable. Comic book. Complain. Convenient. Cost. Department store. Desk. Electronics. I think probably all of us are very familiar with electronics. One of the universal things in a lot of people's lives, electronics. Fear. Feature. Forgetful. All right, and let's start up now with jacket. Okay, again, just checking over in the comments. So jacket, this is a noun. It's a thing. As you can see in the illustration, the little girl is wearing a jacket. Now, I'm thinking that I'm probably going to get the question, what's the difference between a jacket and a coat? Thinking someone will probably ask that because it's a great question. What is the difference between a jacket and a coat? A jacket is lighter, okay? A jacket is just lighter. If it's maybe in the spring and it's warm enough that I don't need a coat, I don't need something heavy, but because it's spring, it's not quite warm enough to just go out in a t-shirt or just a regular shirt, I would have a jacket. So a jacket is more lightweight than a coat, okay? So we wear jackets usually, at least in Spokane, with our weather. We would wear jackets in the spring or the fall, and wear coats because coats are heavier. They keep us warmer in the winter. Good. Today is cold, so I must wear, remember the article, a jacket. And it would be a because jacket starts with a J, so it's a consonant. Right? Good. Good. So in some ways, coat and jacket could be used as a synonym, but the understanding that I want to make sure you have is that a jacket is lighter weight. Okay? A coat is heavier. It'll keep you warmer. A jacket you would wear on not too cold, but not too hot of a day. So jacket is a noun. Picture here, the little girl's wearing a jacket. Jar, okay? A jar. So jar, once more, is a noun. So you can see here, there's jars of, it looks like green beans, which I love. We grew a lot of those. Maybe looks like a jar of some salsa. I do love salsa. So a jar. Okay, a jar can be made of glass, usually made of glass, but it can really be made, it could be made of metal. A jar is just something you put things in and it has a lid. Now with jars, usually our food, what we buy in jars. So we're having a Christmas celebration for our students tomorrow after school. So again, if you would ever like to study abroad in the United States, I think that SCEL is a wonderful place to do so because we have Smrt English and because we like to have a lot of fun and we like to have fun celebrations with our students. So with that, tomorrow we are having a Christmas party and people are going to bring in different jars of snacks, jars of frosting to make gingerbread houses. If you don't know what a gingerbread house is, you can Google that. It's a very popular Christmas tradition. So jars. You see from the illustration, right, something that holds, usually has a screw-on lid or top, and more times than not, the food that we buy comes in jars. Okay. Dollarama, name of the store, low. The prices are so low in this store. So low, for our purposes here, as an adjective, if we're talking about Dollarama, and let me explain what that is real quick. So in America, we have what are called dollar stores. And I actually think they're pretty fantastic because you can get a lot of things for $1. So, for example, when I am setting up my classroom, if I need pencils, if I need pens, if I need pads of paper, yeah, I could go to a department store. There's our vocab. I could go to a department store and maybe a pad of paper would be $1, $1.50, $2. Dollar stores are great because everything there is just $1. And with that, the prices are very low. Obviously, it's $1. So low here as an adjective means inexpensive. I was in Italy a few years ago, and I was very, very excited when I found a Euro store. Like, it's the Italian version of the dollar store. I was very excited. I do enjoy dollar stores, especially being a teacher. I can get a lot of things for my classroom at very low prices. So low, we could even say cheap or inexpensive. Okay. Vivek has really great example. I'm feeling very low. So we would also use low once more as an adjective if we just meant we weren't feeling well. Either we physically do not feel well, or maybe even emotionally. If we feel sad, we can say, I feel low. Absolutely. For our purposes and for our vocabulary, we're going to be talking about low as in less expensive. Or again, a synonym we could use for that is cheap. Okay? Cheap prices. You can go to a department store and usually buy a jacket. If you shop around, you could ask one of the clerks at the department store, and you could shop and find a jacket. You could usually find one for a nice low price. Order. All right? So order. For our vocabulary purposes, again, even though there can be multiple, so more than one, even more than two, sometimes even more than three meanings for a word, for our unit and our class, the vocabulary words that we go over, I'll just be explaining for our purposes what we're going to use that vocabulary word for. So with order, order is an action, so it's a verb. The example here, our order has taken a very long time. Let's ask the waiter. Oh, my apologies. The example sentence, they have order as a noun, so a thing. Our order, thing, in this sentence it just means what we have asked for to eat, or what we have asked for to drink, what we have requested of the restaurant. So my apologies, in the example sentence, we're using order as a noun. Our order has taken a very long time. So our order, what we have asked for, what we have requested from the restaurant. Now, if we took the words, if we took that sentence away, we see the gentleman with his hand up. He could be signaling to the waiter that he would like to make an order, okay? Or I'm ready to order. If you say, I'm ready to order, then it would be a verb. And once more, it's the same in as much as it just means I'm ready to give you my request or what I would like. So more times than not, if you ever see me at a restaurant, my order will always include, I will always be ordering, or I will always order coffee. I like coffee. That's always part of my order. Okay. Good. So Vivek, there you are again. Excellent job. You have the word. His example, she ordered, and it would be ordered or orders. She ordered me to leave the class. Okay, so order as in she ordered me to leave the class is a demand or a very strong request. Again, that's another way that order can be used. But once more, for our purposes and our vocabulary, we're going to be using it. Our order has taken a very long time. So we're using it as a noun. And it is what you have requested, what you have asked for. This would be like at a restaurant or at a cafe. Okay, good. All right, we'll do one more. Again, since we started a few minutes late, we'll end a few minutes late so we can get that full hour together. Painting. Painting. Now, painting, again, because English is crazy, painting can be both a noun and a verb. So let's see which one it is in our example sentence. Let's put that painting on the wall in the living room. It will look nice there. So if you look over on the screen, you see a piece of art. It's a painting. Okay, so a painting is a noun. It's a piece of art. Okay, there's many famous paintings from all over the world, different cultures, different traditions, certainly different countries, plural, have different forms of art, and with that, different styles or kinds of painting or paintings. This one is singular. Let's put that painting on the wall in the living room. Now, painting as a verb obviously means to paint, okay? So if my friend called me, would you like to go to coffee? Normally I would say, absolutely. I always love coffee. But let me meet you later. Right now I'm painting my living room. So that would be painting as a verb, as an action, okay? So with that, we are going to have to draw. So draw in, not draw. Again, so many English words that can mean multiple things. English is crazy. We would say this class is drawing to an end, coming to an end. But before, I certainly want to check over in the comments. Picasso, very, very famous painter. Painter as a noun, as a person who paints, absolutely. Yes, the most famous painting in the world is arguably, so people would argue, but most would agree that the most famous painting in the world is the Mona Lisa. That was by Da Vinci. Excellent. Well done. Some really great examples there. It would appear to me that you guys are understanding this, which makes me so happy. It makes my heart happy. Again, vocabulary is one of my favorite things to teach because I love words. As I said before, the more vocabulary we have, the more words we know, the more we can say. It's like building that house. You can build a bigger house. So with that, here's some more vocabulary as part of our overall vocabularies, and I hope it's been helpful. I hope you've enjoyed this class. I certainly have enjoyed being here with you guys, and wherever you are in the world, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, night, wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon for Smart English. Thanks so much, guys. Bye-bye.